Hello, I'm APX and Mojang must have been looking at my childhood for inspiration for this update because it sure looks like a baby drop. We have brand new baby donkey textures, brand new baby horse textures, and of course brand new baby mules as well, but exclusively on the Java edition, alongside two brand new baby mobs we've never seen before. These are all here to celebrate the year of the horse, but why are they only on Java for now? And indeed, why is the Java and Bedrock drop so far looking the way it is? Let's explain everything about what is in this drop and when it is coming out today, but let's get started, by the way, not with nostalgia, but with update titles. Because, hello, I'm APX and Minecraft are about to unveil their first update that doesn't start with a 1. We had this whole world ready for last week, but it's perfect for now because the 1.22 or 1.26 update has been cancelled and instead reversed into 26.1. This will be the first update to release in 2026 for the Java edition. For Bedrock, it'll be called 26.10, if you can imagine the 0 there, and it'll be coming out after 26.0, which just got a brand new Bedrock beta. So this is the first drop of the year. It doesn't have an update title yet, but they've been leaning into the similarities to last year's Spring drop. So Spring to Life Part 2 is a perfectly fine title for now. And what exactly is inside of our Spring drop Part 2? Well, that's what I want to go into because we saw in our first brand new mega set of features, brand new baby chicks, mushrooms, wolves, cats, sheep, pigs, and of course chicks again. They're just so adorable. But now we are seeing changes to each of those things and updates to them alongside brand new variants of other mobs as well. They figured that those babies were cute, but they could update them nonetheless. And so the first thing they've decided to do is update the baby chicken model so that its wings look a bit more realistic. So if you haven't seen the baby chicken model yet, this is absolutely adorable, and now his wings stick out a little bit more, making it slightly less cubular. Some would argue less cubular in a Minecraft game is undesirable, but a lot of people were memeing on it just a little bit too hard, and so now your baby cubes have baby wings as well, which I do think is an improvement. So that is change 1 of 4. As you know, in these update videos, I like to show you things by the 4. So what is number 2? Well, I'll explain it simply to you by showing you a horse that, yeah, maybe didn't questionably come from this parent, but is a baby nonetheless, and has a brand new baby horse model. Before this update, baby horses used to look like this, but now you can see they're looking like this. I think the baby horse is actually really, really cute, and I love that there was actually some justification for removing that feature from Bedrock last month. I do think that that is a good sign that Mojang were doing something with that, rather than just deciding to remove something from Bedrock to match Java again. Really, really like it personally, but what I also really love is looking at the baby donkey and the baby mule, and I've got to say, these both fall into the same design camp as all of the other baby mobs, where they've gone for 1 pixel eyes instead of 2, or maybe 3 you might say for the baby horse here, but I think that like going for these 2 pixel eye designs makes such a big difference between the mob looking like a real baby, like literally just popped out of its mother womb, or being a baby that is of a certain age. But in order to facilitate this, there are also brand new bounding boxes for these mobs to actually match up with their new models, and also they have new sounds. I haven't been able to spot them, as you can see. To me, those sound exactly like normal sounds for mobs, but there are new baby horse sounds, baby horse boxes, and also baby horse models that should be different for each of the horse variants. So if we come here and we spawn a bunch of baby horses, you should start to see that they all look entirely different, which is just delightful if you like baby horses, because they did have to go through quite a deal of work there, just like how they probably did the number 3, which is something I'll share with you. Because as far as, if you ask me, this is the most important change, even though it's one that is for creative and commands only. Now, by using a spawn egg, to be clear, you want to do this underneath a little gap somewhere. If you use a spawn egg, you'll be able to get the baby zombie horse. This was not possible before, so it's very cool to see that it is. By the way, why is it that when you're playing Java, you still have a combat cooldown, even in creative? Different point for a different time, but still, this is the baby zombie horse, and he's very stupid because he's a baby. But looking at his model nonetheless, you can see also 2 pixels. The same is true for the baby skeleton here. This is a baby skeleton horse, and he has no real function. Again, like the baby zombie horse, it's creative only, but it is a very cute addition, and it means that all of those horse versions have babies, which makes as much sense as it ever is going to, in my opinion. And so what do I think? I love them. What is the use for them? Well, Not very much. And so that is genuinely the end of the Java changelog. There are some very intriguing, things in here as far as bug fixes. They fixed a bug from the updated Quatic. That is, it feels weird to say this. It makes me feel like a boomer, but that was, most of a decade ago now. So it's cool to see they fixed that. But also they fixed multiple bugs from the trade rebalance, which is just fascinating to me because literally yesterday I was talking about the villager trade rebalance and whether you should prepare. And the stance I took was, well, you could prepare like I kind of have, but I know that the odds are like 99.9% that it's not coming anytime soon and not without delay. But then we see them go through a lot of effort to fix some bugs specifically only found within it. So do you want to now have your swamp villagers and your jungle villagers? Does this all of a sudden make a bunch of sense? Well, I am still going to play the role of the skeptic here and say that it could be that even if Mojang has no intention to really move forward with the trade rebalance, that they still do need to fix bugs within it, especially when it results to trading that people might have turned on to test their stuff. Or it could very well mean that, like, in its current form, the villager trade rebalance is dead, but they do intend to do something with that toggle later. They want to do some better rebalance later that people actually like more. In either case, choosing to update is a fascinating decision, and, again, might be worth revisiting your calculus on yesterday if you decided it will never happen, because now I've gone from, it will probably never happen, to, keep your eyes peeled. I don't think we're getting any announcements too massively soon, but it's still something worth keeping in mind. Also, wouldn't my skeleton horse be cuter if he was a baby? You know, actually, that's a good question. Before we go into the fourth part of this video, the Bedrock side of things, here's a fun thing that you can do. You know how tier lists exist for everything? Well, of course you do. I can make a tier list of how likely it is I think that you know that that's true, but instead, allow me to show you, which is the IBX toy card. This is a special card we created for the 13th anniversary of the Let's Play world, so we have this special art put onto a real physical card that you can actually get your hands on, that comes with a collector's sleeve, a collector's box, and indeed will be one of just, we've decided as a special little extension to lower the number to 500 and to extend the pre-order by just a few days. If you want to buy one of these last 199 cards, if you're curious, the rest are actually going to be produced and sent to me. I assume not signed, but if you want to buy one of the last 199 cards, you've got 2 days to do it. If you want to own this fun little piece of history, now is your time to do that. Also, it supports me, but you know what else supports me? Showing you the Minecraft new baby animals tier list maker. This is something which includes all of the brand new animals, and I've got to say, my favorite is the chick, right? Without or without its little wings, I still think it's the absolute best, but then I have to say that a little bit lower down is going to be the wolves and the cats. I think that they're like, or ocelots I should say, I think they're perfectly fine. I like the new rabbit model a lot. I think it's like S tier, but I think the baby rabbit then is like a little bit more like, what are we doing here? On the other hand, man, there's a lot of ads on this page. I should buy myself a PC. But on the other hand, we we have to look at the baby donkey and the baby mule, which I think clearly are going to need updates later. I think that these are just things that could do with some work. The baby zombie horse kind of feels like it's a bit better. The baby horse is a real nice improvement. The baby skeleton horse is just I don't know why I have a soft spot for him, but I do. Whereas the baby cat, absolute A tier mastery. The baby sheep, super cute. Same with the baby mushroom, whereas the baby cow and the baby pig are in B tier. But as you all know, you can't have a tier list that has a tier missing. So what we're going to do is we're going to arbitrarily decide to lower one of these. I'm sorry, skeleton horse. I love you very much, but you're going down. And we're all going to arbitrarily raise this one. Boom, my tier list of all the mobs. You're welcome. Speaking of things you're welcome to, there is a brand new preview that actually just came out today, 26.0.29. And I'd like to start by saying, yes, a lot of people said that my UI scale was too small. I really like that they did this last week, but for many people's, YouTube viewing, it's not that great, which is why we're going to go in here and we're going to change things, because now instead of having 50% UI scale, we'll go back to 75, which should be slightly nicer for your viewing pleasure. Speaking of your viewing pleasure, let's now go into the very exciting changes they made here, because sadly, as Minecraft acknowledged, it won't be until next week that all of those baby horse changes come to Bedrock, and that's because they were busy adding, well, okay, looking at the changelog for this 300 plus megabyte update, it doesn't look like very much, but they've made two very notable changes. The first is that items will now flow better in water, or correctly I should say. Ooh, isn't that nice? And And the second is something I can only really show you by showing you the house of someone who's not subscribed to IBX Toycat, because as you can see, using lava to light a portal is now going to work much better. Apparently this was bugged out. It's something I've been able to feel, but not necessarily put my finger on, so it's really cool to see that this has been fixed. I mean, I don't see it yet, but you can still see that this should be much smoother and therefore much better. Speaking of things that are smoother and better, I guess I probably should have made a backup of this world before deciding to light the house on fire, huh? Anyway, speaking of things that I should have made a backup for doing, I think that this is a really weird decision for many to say, wait, so Bedrock has all of this stuff going on, but they deliberately didn't add the new features this week to Bedrock. Why would they do that? Especially given they could have just not added it to Java until the week of that. I do believe that there are two culprits at play. One is that there has to be more to this drop. Right now, we've seen babies of 10 different mobs, with babies of horses joining just now. I do not believe fully, maybe optimistically, but I do not believe fully that that is all that we are going to see in this drop. Maybe you do believe that, but I personally don't. So I think that there's going to be more content coming, and it's going to be coming next week. They just decided to drop the horses now because there is some real feedback that needs gathering. I think if we look at the horses in its current form... Sorry, I don't have pick block enabled right now, apparently. But if we look at the horses in its current form, you can see, like, oh yeah, it's a nice, tiny update. Wait, is it even a tiny update? But anyway, if we look at the brand new models for these mobs, you can see, like, oh yeah, but the baby donkey is going through a massive change, honestly. The donkey's going from looking like this, which is just basically the same donkey but smaller, to now having a brand new look entirely. That's something that they probably want some feedback on before going into it bigger next week. Because what's fun about this week is this is the end for Minecraft 26.0, I'm almost sure. That's the reason that, again, it could just be that maybe for some reason the Bedrock team are busier this week. After all, it was MLK Day, I want to say. There's a big January holiday in the US that's not in Europe. And so it could be that that holiday affected the Bedrock team more than the Java team. But I believe that looking at the size of this changelog, we see something that we've seen time and time again, which is just before a minor update goes out for Bedrock, they want to make sure it's stable, and so they prioritize the stability of 26.0. Again, 26.1 is not accurate. It's 26.0 right here. I think they want to prioritize the stability of this update, so all the things that are coming in 26.10 are obviously going to be delayed as a result. Is that exactly true? Obviously, we don't know. For some reason, we don't get clear communication on this stuff. But what I do think we know for sure is that... My zero looks out of place. What I do think we know for sure is that we are in a bit of a weird phase of this drop, where we are now 1 month into seeing content, but can't really see the theme of it beyond more mob variants. Are they going to go for mob variants of different biomes again? I think, last year everyone was talking about polar bear variants. Is that the direction? Are they going to go exclusively down the baby mob route and do more interesting thing with babies? We do not know yet, and that is something I would love to see, because for now, it kind of leaves us with a shorter beta and snapshot cycle, which I have to imagine will be rectified next week, but there's only one way to know for sure, and I guess I'll have to see you there. Although I'll be on the start of my trip by then. So I'll see you for a questionable mobile video for the big 26.10 snapshot video. Actually, yeah, it'll be our first 26.10 update. That's exciting, huh? Anyway, speaking of things that are exciting, I hope you all enjoyed this video.